tells the Jedi, "Look, it's baby Yoda. No, baby Ahsoka. Once upon a time, mommy Ahsoka go hunting. They go hunting. She goes hunting with her baby Ahsoka. But then there was this tiger. A tiger get baby Ahsoka. Baby Ahsoka touches the tiger and is able to control the tiger. And now she's able to ride the saber-toothed tiger. It's the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers all over again. Who was the Yellow Ranger? Trini, the Vietnamese girl who died in a car accident. Aww. So now Ahsoka is riding a saber-toothed tiger. And the Indians, the Pocahontas people, they're like, how is he able to do that? Oh, I know how, said the old lady who dropped the necklace in the ocean in the end. Wait, no, that's Titanic. No, seriously. She's like, I know how she did it. She's a Jedi. That's a life and death situation. Episode 2, you got Dooku, and you got his Padawan, Qui-Gon Jinn, who was the master of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Interesting that it opens up. They're on a spaceship, the same like it's just like the Phantom Menace with Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. So they're going off to this planet, and this is like the king of the planet or something, king of the city or something, some kind of leader dude. And supposedly he's like the bad guy or something, and Dooku's not happy with all that, with everything that's going on. Over time, he joins the Emperor Palpatine because he feels like the Jedi lost their way. And this is the part where he starts to force choke this dude. There's Dooku in action. And now, fast forward some years, you got Dooku. He's a little bit older, like possibly 10 years older or something. You got Mace Windu with his purple lightsaber, played by Samuel Jackson. Dooku, stand down. So, as Jedi, they were trying to keep the peace, and something went wrong, and it might have been Dooku's fault, and a Jedi died, and then they're having a funeral, and then they have to explain it to the High Council. This is before Mr. Mace Windu was on the High Council. Episode 4, this is where Dooku goes into the library and he deletes the information about the water planet, the planet where they were making the clone troopers. Moments later, his former apprentice came back from this sand planet, Tatooine. Everybody's talking about, there's a rumor going on that the Sith is back. And some people think it's kind of like a rumor. Like, it's crazy. It's like being like in a place where you see the Bigfoot or something that you don't believe in. Let's say, for example, something you don't believe in. You don't think it's real. And then you see it. And you're like, that can't be real. And they're like gossiping. And this is basically somewhere in the middle of the first movie, Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, right before he goes back out there to fight again, help the Queen of Naboo and die. This is right before he goes and dies, unintentionally, of course, but nonetheless, here he is having a little bit of a conversation with his former master, Mr. Old Guy. What's his name again? Mr. Dooku. Dooku runs off to talk to his master, his new master now. Not Yoda, not no Jedi, is a Sith Lord, the one and only Emperor Palpatine, Sidious, and that little green little Yoda girl lady is spying on them, and then they find out, and then the Emperor's like, "You better go kill her. You better kill the Yaddle girl," and so they fight. They fight to the death, cause he knows everything, and the fight is pretty good. It kind of reminds me of the second movie, Attack of the Clones, where Dooku fights Yoda, and so it's kind of like a flashback. And so in his mind, he's probably thinking like, "Well, I already killed one of you before. I'll do it again, 'cause I killed your little cousin, this little chick with the hair. You know, I'm gonna kill you, Yoda." And that's like 10 years later. About 10 years later. And so they fight, and they slam the door. He slams the door on her, but then she's able to escape later on. Like that. Wow. Based on George Lucas. Did somebody say George Lucas is still producing? I don't think he's actually producing. But here is Palpatine. He's all like, "Rah ha ha ha," as evil as ever, as one could expect. Episode 5, Anakin Skywalker comes on in, and his master was his master. Kenobi, there he is. Kenobi is like, "You're just on time." "What? I thought I was late." "Oh yeah, that's what I meant." And so Ahsoka is training, and she does a pretty good job training. So that's what she does. But Anakin's like, "This test is not good enough. Let me drill you. Let me scar you for life." So Anakin takes Ahsoka over here to this place, probably the water planet, and she's drilled to death almost, except the blasters are on stun, but she goes at it again and again and again, and they continue to get her, pin her down. She falls unconscious for like an hour every time, and it happens again and again and again. She's surrounded by like a dozen clone troopers, and they keep on hammering her. They give her the ultimate test, and Anakin's like, "If you could pass this test, you could do anything. Anything, almost anything, except for, unless if you're fighting Palpatine himself or me, something like that. But anything outside of that, you could probably handle." And that's totally true, because they're going to have Executive Order 666 or whatever it is, and she's able to hold her own and survive. That's what happened. And he saved her, even though he became public enemy number 1, until he returned and threw the Emperor in a hole, which is what he did. But until then, he was a terrible guy. Nobody lied. But before that, he helped her, and she became very, very powerful, and it makes sense. It kind of reminds me of the princess in Nintendo's Super Mario Bros. And Princess Peach probably had a lot of practice, and you can see here that Ahsoka had a lot of practice. There's Anakin and one of the clones washing. It must be Rex or something. Bop bop. Episode 6, the final episode of this season, the first season, you see Padme. This is her funeral. This is at the end of Revenge of the Sith. And Ahsoka's kind of watching in the background. She's kind of like the devil in Passion of the Christ, just there, lurking in the background. Nobody knows why. But one of the guys notices and runs off to say, hey, what are you doing? And if you ever need me, call me, beat me. If you ever want to meet me, Kim Possible, just come on over, baby. Christina Aguilera, just come on over, baby. There they are. It's that guy, Mr. Organa, Mr. whatever his name is, the guy that took care of Leia. And then later on, Ahsoka's on this planet, and she's just like helping out, living a simple life. But then one day, some kind of inquisitor comes, and because one of the guys was like contacted the Empire because he likes the Empire, and he had a whole entire argument all about it. He might as well have been the son of Dooku kind of thing, but he contacted this Jedi hunter inquisitor, and then Ahsoka had to fight and defeat the inquisitor, and she's able to do it. The inquisitor looks like a bird person, and that's probably why or how she was able to get the swirly lightsaber. And so she's able to take him out because she's really good. They make her more powerful than Luke Skywalker, which is totally wrong to do, but it's still kind of cool to see the character, even though it came at a price of them sacrificing Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, all these other characters. They just threw under the bus. And in the end, she's able to contact what's his face, this guy, Mr. Organa, and he's like, are you sure you're ready to join the rebels? And she's like, yeah, and that's how it ends. And that's basically the story of how she ends up helping the rebels, basically, and she's that person that you see in the Rebels cartoon. She shows up later on, eventually, and then she becomes a regular the last few seasons of the show. And she had a code name, and people didn't know who she was, but she was there in the background because she was helping Organa. And she had to come back, and so this is like a few years, probably, I imagine, a few years after Revenge of the Sith. And she comes back to help the, the Alliance, the Rebels, fight the Empire. And she has a really good story. Unfortunately, with the new live-action show, what they're doing is they're taking a book. They're basically plagiarizing, which is okay in a way, but they're like taking. I didn't really read the book or anything about the the Thrawn series. The blue guy you see in the trailers for Ahsoka, the live-action Ahsoka show. I don't know a lot about Thrawn. He's in the cartoon Rebels show, but I think I understand the character of the Thrawn guy, and he's out there, and Ahsoka's fighting him or something, or other people are fighting him. But in the books, like the stuff that happens after Return of the Jedi, he's like the next in line to take over the Empire. But in Disney's Star Wars, it's like the Empire's gone magically, or they're kind of still there, but then magically, like, the New Republic takes over in the Disney's timeline, their canon, their version of everything. In the books, things were a little bit different, but like in 2012, Disney was like, it gone. Like it's not canon. The books and everything, whatever they said. Like they're like, oh, it doesn't count. It does not count towards canon. And you had a really good story about the Thrawn guy, the blue guy, and now they're gonna put that guy, the blue guy, in the Ahsoka show. But I thought that you're supposed to have somebody like Luke Skywalker fight Thrawn or a bunch of other people in combination and have a really good story. But instead, you got Ahsoka and maybe other people too. But there's a focus on Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's filling in that void, the hole in the story, which is okay in a way. But it's like you don't have anything for Luke except for, oh, Luke is building his own new academy to train Jedi, but then he's gonna give up, and who knows what happens to Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever his name is, Grogu, and it's kind of depressing, which I guess is on purpose. I would rather have a more positive, more encouraging story. Not that stories have to be or should be always positive in a sense, because sometimes you need to tell a sad story. I guess like in the end, you want a happy ending. I know some people don't like that, but it's like traditionally that's been really good. I know there's some shows that are weird. You got Dexter Morgan. So the Dexter show is weird. Breaking Bad. Walking Dead, I don't know what to think about zombies, even though I love it and everything. But like sometimes in a show you have an anti-hero. And it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like Dexter, and you remember what I said about him? Like, what was it? Season 9, they brought him back, and his son, spoiler alert, like his son kills him, which is okay, I guess, but it's like, do you really have to make Dexter the bad guy that badly? And so it's like, it's a question of, what do you want to do with these characters, and do you really have to make all the characters we love terrible? Maybe you could take one of them and mess them up, screw with them, make them evil. But do you really have to do it to every single one? Every single one? Han Solo, terrible. Luke Skywalker, he's drinking blue milk. Don't get me started.